actually believe whatever we think of, we can make. You know, whatever it is. If you can imagine it, it's possible to make it.
Yeah.
And it makes me like a child, you know, like I'm dreaming out loud, like magic is true, you know, like we're all wizards.
Yeah, like Disney. Okay, let's start. Hello everyone, hola a todos y a todas. Estoy súper contento de tener aquí hoy a Tim. Lo conocí hace 1 año y medio en uno de sus cursos y me pareció una persona fantástica, estupenda. Haremos la entrevista en castellano e inglés. Él es un coach de respiración que se ha formado en el método Wim Hof, como también en otras formaciones y vertientes de la filosofía y estilo de vida tibetano. Tiene su propio programa de coaching, él lo explicará mucho mejor, de 3 meses a 1 año. También da cursos en grupos, como el que viene a ser aquí en Barcelona, como también en otras partes del mundo, Latinoamérica, Europa. Ofrece un programa con 5 pasos que se llama Optimize. Y la verdad que está súper bien. Una de las cosas que me encantan de Tim es que todo su saber, su conocimiento y experiencia lo reduce a la mínima expresión para la mejor eficacia. Entonces, algo muy complejo, muy complicado, lo convierte en algo sencillo y práctico. Y ahí está realmente la sabiduría, en convertir un conocimiento súper, científico y más rebuscado a su expresión mínima. Eso la verdad que para mí tiene muchísimo valor. Bueno, Tim.
Entendí todo.
Perfect. So I wanted to thank you to be here and to invite me.
Thank you.
And to enjoy my interviews. So I want you to presentarte a ti mismo.
Vale.
Y contarnos lo que quieras sobre ti.
What I'm learning myself is what I'm teaching. You know, like I'm basically a nerd who's finding out new things and new things and new things. And I call everything that I do together, I call it Optimize. And it's to optimize your life, to become more energetic and healthier and, being able to do more things. But also, if you're busy, what are you doing? You know, like if you have like every morning 2 hours, that's nice, but normal people don't have that, you know, like either not the patience or just, like I have 5 kids, like I'm busy, you know what I mean?
I have 1 and I'm really busy.
It becomes better if you have more. It's like 1 plus 1 is 1.5. Plus 1 is, it's 2, and like 5 is like one child again, because they take care of each other.
Perfect.
But anyway, so I think what works very, very good for me is that I do my morning ritual is like exercise and breathing together within 10 minutes.
Whoa.
And even shorter. Like maybe 2 minutes or 5 minutes altogether. So I believe in taking baby steps, like every day a little bit. And like in COVID times, I didn't go to hot yoga, I used to go like 4 times a week. And I just did my morning exercises and my body stayed completely the same. I didn't gain weight, for example. Mm-hmm. And well, that is what I do, So, and this is also what I help people with, is to, in the personal coaching, because people don't know where to start, and it's like, okay, let's start with, do you have pain? Yes, I have lower back pain. Okay, let's get rid of that first. And you do like exercise and breathing, and then slowly optimize your life. So optimize, like to cuerpo al dentro, like your inner world. But also in time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and an optimize consists of like five things, 5 steps, 5 pillars, you could say, which is mindset, how to become like more positive and accept negativity also. I call that el poder de paradoja, the power of paradox.
Yeah, what is paradox?
Okay, yeah, this is very, our mind, our head, it works like, it puts things in boxes. Up, down, female, male, black, white, it needs to do that. 0, 1, like mathematics. It's either 0 or 1. It's true or untrue. And a paradox is a statement, like a sentence, that is both true and untrue. And then, so a simple paradox is the words, I am lying. Because if I would be lying, I would tell the truth by saying I'm lying. So, and then what happens is you get like, wait a minute. And this is the power that if our minds, 0 or 1, true, untrue, here's paradox, both true and untrue, you're as well a 0 as a 1, it confuses. And like a computer program, it crashes. And what is left? Everything else. Hard thinking, intuition, gut feeling, you have like rational mind, intuitive mind, or like mind and heart. And if your mind crashes, your heart is left. And this is the power and the power of paradox. I actually call it the no bullshit training. To, especially in your own head, like, is this true or not true? Is this bullshit what I'm thinking or not? So you get to clear up your mind and you can use it in extreme practical ways, So that's my mindset training. And I'm writing a book about it.
No.
Yes.
Nice.
So, if you want to translate it to Spanish, we do it together. Right?
Let's go.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's pillar 1. It's mindset training. Then pillar 2 is nutrition. And this is another paradox, I don't believe in becoming like vegan, for example, I'm mostly vegan and mostly vegetarian, but I allow myself anything. I don't believe in being too strict. So I'm not vegan. I'm nothing, I would want to say, I allow myself anything. And this is paradox. So the paradox is we think that to eat clean is cleaning up our body, which is true. But if the paradox is true, then it should be healthy to put some dirt in our body too sometimes. It's the detox-retox principle. Yeah, so yes, I have my list of the healthy things and my unhealthy things. So unhealthy things is wine or alcohol, cheese, meat, fish. I believe that plant-based is the healthiest. Like milk is. I don't believe that's all too healthy. But I don't believe that you should not take it at all. But like little bits, like microdosing. I don't need meat. But if you are like, my friend from Barcelona that loves steak with red wine, I'm bringing you to this restaurant. I'm like, yeah, and we drink red wine and we eat steak. So then the question is like, is it healthy to put dirt in your body? And that is like, I believe it's true. There's actually some scientific evidence about children in Japan. They did like a huge research about this, and it's called the hygiene hypothesis. Yeah, and the Japanese are very clean, so there's children who stay at home and extremely clean, and the children that go to daycare. And if you go to daycare, there's a lot of dirt. Like all these kids are sneezing in each other's face. Now, if you look at these two groups, that the kids that go to daycare and get bacteria in, get dirt in, have much less chance of developing allergies later in life. So to be 100% clean, Like if you're like strictly vegan, first of all, I think if you feel like you need an egg, your body is craving for it, but your mind is like, no, I'm not allowed. That creates like cramp, because you don't allow yourself things. If you would eat an egg, but you haven't eaten an egg for 5 years, you may get sick. That's not being resilient. So what I believe in, I call this the detox-retox paradox, is live healthy at home and like at work. That is like 80% of the time. And then if you want to retox, go to a bar with your friends and eat a steak or drink Coca-Cola or whatever your detox is. Like some people will say, no, but fish is healthy. And so it doesn't matter, but as long as 80% is healthy, then outside you can do whatever you want. So one thing that happens is you allow yourself anything, as long as largely you are healthy. So you become like more free in the mind and like more relaxed. Instead of I'm not allowed to eat an egg, I'm allowed to do anything. And that is I think that's also healthier because in my life sometimes I sleep 3 hours when I'm flying or whatever. Sometimes 1 hour, and I have to give a training. And with the life that I live, it actually works. I can be without sleep and still perform. And that's like optimizing. Okay, so pillar 1, mindset. Pillar 2, nutrition. Pillar 3, light exercise. It's like we brush our teeth every day, and twice a year you go to the dentist, right? Now we have clean teeth because we brush our teeth every day. And then once or twice a year you go to check up and clean it like really good. So like doing every day, very light exercise, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, max 8 minutes, something like that, but every day, is making your body like more energetic, and it starts going into like an optimal, optimal body, like for looks, but also inside, so even when you sleep 3 hours, you are okay, you know what I mean? And then, so my favorites, you already said, are the 5 Tibetan rites. And I'm gonna put out, I made 45 videos about 5 Tibetan rites, like a whole online course, when I was in lockdown in London for 2 weeks. And I'm gonna put that out on YouTube. It's gonna be estupendo. So those are my favorite exercises, and they, according to the legend, they can reverse your physical aging process. And for me, if I look at my body now and how it feels now compared to 10 years ago, in the last 10 years, my body became 10 years younger. So it works for me. It doesn't mean that's true, but it works for me, and that's what I share. And then pillar 4, breathing techniques. Breathing is like, it's like the next step, like you sport or you do yoga and you read self-help books, that's all fine. And then at a certain moment, you start to like live what you know, like integrate it into your life. Now, what is behind meditation? Breathing. What is behind yoga? Breathing. So breathing techniques is like the big secret, like I do light exercise. I don't go to CrossFit or boot camp, but I do it sometimes. And then, I can do CrossFit for an hour, like really with all these guys, and I can do it too, because I have the secret. I know how to breathe, And with breathing techniques, it's like a huge story about what the benefits are. But you train your cardiovascular system, you release happy hormones like dopamine and DMT, and it makes you like really, really calm. Like meditation, and I'm hearing this all the time, that people want to meditate, but they find it difficult. If you do breathing, it's like a shortcut to being empty on the inside, So it has physical and mental benefits. And then pillar number 5 is cold training. Did you bring your swimming suit today?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to do ice. And cold training is also like intense, is an ice bath. step, the brushing your teeth every day, is like ending your shower cold. Ending, not only cold, but just warm shower, and in the end you turn it to cold. Breathe slowly, 30 seconds, 1 minute, that's enough. Doesn't cost any time, doesn't cost any money. And those are my 5 pillars, and through all these things you can do yourself, and it doesn't cost a lot of time. The mindset training, anytime when you feel you're not good, you can practice it. Nutrition, well, we all have to eat, it's very simple, and anything is allowed. Exercise is like, if I don't have time, I do 2 minutes. If I do have time, I do 8 minutes. Breathing, if I don't have time, I do like 5 minutes. If I do have time, but also the breathing, I made a promise to myself. Whenever I get moody, I'm wired impatient. I'm naturally an impatient person. So if I walk on the airport in Atlanta, in the United States, and there's like 3 really big American family, walking next to each other, and I'm like, and I can't pass. I get moody, come on, get out of the way, why can't you please walk in line, And I know this is me. These people can't do anything about it, And then I'm like, I'm impatient. And I do breathing. Like 4 steps in, 8 steps out. Like that, and I calm down. So whenever I get moody or whenever I'm bored, I do breathing techniques. So if we meet for coffee and you are late, I'm just, doing either very slow breathing or breathing techniques like my own technique, the TT technique, or like tuba breathing, or like Wim Hof method breathing, taking a few breaths, holding, breathe out slowly. And you get immediately into a natural state of bliss and of silence, of meditation, Well, you're practicing the breathing techniques as well, right? Yeah, and this you can all do yourself, and it doesn't really cost any time. It's like 10 minutes a day. That's it. And that's what we want, right? We want to do little and have maximum output. Yeah. That's what I do myself, and this is how I help people also, basically.
What motivates you to start? You talk about 10 years ago. Did you start before that, or what was your
trigger?
Yeah.
I think it was. I'm 51 now.
Okay.
When I was 33, 34, I was an option trader. Like these guys with colored jackets, screaming quotes. The financial world. Okay. A trader. Okay. And I lost all my money in 6 months' time. And I think that was the point where I started realizing, first of all, okay, I'm actually still okay. It's just the money that I lost, but my body's still healthy. My kids are healthy. So I started putting things in perspective. Okay. And it was I think when I was 38 or 37, I did my first yoga class. And then around that time, I'm not sure exactly, but between 38 and 40, I had 2 years of extreme research. I was working full time. I had 3 kids then, so I was a daddy in the evening, and at night I was watching YouTube videos, reading a lot of self-help books, stuff like that. 2 years of time, and I found in 2 years of time, I found my way of thinking, the power of paradox, basically, And this is where I wrote the book, and this is where I really started changing. In those 2 years of time, I opened my eyes, And slowly, it's only 5 or 6 years ago when Wim Hof and I became friends, and when he said, why don't you do the instructor course? I'm like, yeah, I want to do something new. And then I started doing breathing. It's 5 years ago, almost every day. And now I'm teaching and traveling the world for the last 3 years, really, saying no now sometimes, like sorry, like I can't come, because I'm full, and I've also 5 children, so I cannot like continuously travel the world. I have to be home sometimes,
Yeah, because it feels like you've been doing this like all your life. It feels like that.
Well, like that. Thank you. That is a very nice compliment. But I have had my certain wisdom, but I feel like I'm nowhere now. I'm just, like, wow. Like you're in the ocean, and for the first time you get up, you're like, wow, I breathe, but there's a whole new world out there.
That's self-awareness. That's self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's conscious. That's wisdom. Know that you don't know nothing.
That's the power of paradox.
Yes,
right?
And that's something that I want to add to this paradox. I love it because it's the subatomical world. The scientifics looking for new, I don't know the name in English, procesadores.
Yeah, processors.
Processors. Now we have the 0-1 processors. Now they are looking for that paradox. You don't know that?
No.
You didn't know that?
I'm getting chills.
It's real.
Tim,
it's
that's
real.
Amazing.
Like in 2010, 2012, Google, NASA, all of them, big nations are searching about this paradox. See, 20th century, the scientifics found that in an experiment, I'm explaining in Spanish, encontraron que en un experimento que hicieron, las partículas subatómicas, electrones, podían ser positivas, negativas, y cuando no las mirabas, podían ser las dos.
See, and this is called, in physics, it's called the problem of dualism, or the dualism paradox. That like from what the bleep do we know? Like if you shoot an electron and there's one hole, it behaves like a ball. But if there's 2 holes, it behaves
That's
like
the
a
experiment
wave.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then when you observe it, it becomes like a particle. But if it's not observed, it's both a particle and a wave. And that is just another paradox. So you find it everywhere.
This is the foundation of the new processor that the informatic world is looking for, because it will crash every technology we have now.
Yeah.
Because we will have 3 options in the normal world. We don't have it in the technology now. We have it in ourselves, but not logical, but emotional thinking. That everything can be both things. This is what I wanted to add to the processors, to the paradox thinking. It's really true. The humanity know it a long time ago, thousands of years.
Yeah.
You can be wherever you want. If you believe it, you can be it. If you don't believe it, you can't be it.
Yeah, and that's how strong our mind is.
Yes, the belief.
Belief is everything. So
yes.
And that's like another paradox. I want to believe that I believe nothing. But of course, to believe that you believe nothing is just another belief system. But of course, I have a belief system that working out life every day is keeping you healthy and you stay young. But I just promise myself that, like, if I believe something and you believe the opposite, normal people would start like, no, you're wrong. And you would say, no, you're wrong. But if I believe something and you say like, no, I don't agree, I want you to tell me why not, because I want to crush my belief system. So I promise myself that I promise myself that whenever somebody tells me something that is contradicting my belief, I will listen to that and hope that my belief system is crushed so I believe something new. And I think that's like really mental flexibility, It's just, it's the easy way and the hard way. going straight to the core. You know, what I'm thinking, is that true or not true? In mathematics, we have 0 and 1. But like in statistics, we don't speak in 0 and 1. We say like 90% true, 60% true. So what if everything that I believe is the same? Nothing is fully true or fully untrue. And then, you know, comes like, so what is true? Well, everything you believe is actually true. If you know, like if I believe I'm not good enough, well, okay, you know. And so it's yet to see where we grow to. Because this is my, you know, I believe that humanity is evolving. We have Homo sapiens and the next level. You could call it like Homo lungus. You know, like the enlightened human being. And that we're like kids, you know, like, and it doesn't matter how old you are, we're like children, and we're finding out like these new things, so like optimizing your body and mind, but also like what is possible if we start to align that mind. How would the world like 100 years from now look like if we would train our minds in well, this strong mindset, you know, like I actually believe whatever we think of, we can make. You know, whatever it is. If you can imagine it, it's possible to make it.
Yeah.
And it makes me like a child, you know, like I'm dreaming out loud, like magic is true, you know, like we're all wizards.
Yeah, like Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
And if you look at the greater teachers in the world, for example, Einstein, you know, like the great mathematicians, or Leonardo da Vinci, or like, these people are living paradoxes. You know, Einstein, the biggest mathematician, he's talking about imagination only. You
Yes.
know, like, and his theory of E is MC squared. He dreamt about it, you know, about a lucid dream, about the speed of light, and you know, like, so, you know, like mathematics and imagination, or like rational, intuitive, or rational and irrational. It looks like it's there, but it's much like a circle, like as far away, they touch each other. Yeah. And it, you know, it's all paradox.
Yeah. The more the scientific world advances in his research, afirma lo que ya conocemos y ya sabemos. Es decir, da una parte racional y explicativa de lo que ya sabemos y ya es.
Yeah.
Me gusta cuando hablas sobre la paradoja, porque todo es posible. Es decir, si creo que puedo ser mi mejor versión en 10 años, y lo creo ahora y lo vivo ahora, es real.
Es real.
Es real.
No es las cosas espirituales.
No.
You know,
Es muy fuerte, porque la mente no distingue entre lo real y lo fantástico. La mente no puede hacer eso. Por eso yo cuido mucho a mi hijo de decirle toda la verdad y de no meterle miedos o nada que le haga daño o creencias, porque eso va a ser su realidad y va a vivir en esa realidad. Por ejemplo, si le cuento sobre fantasías de terror, el hombre del saco, de Boogeyman, va a ser la realidad, lo va a ver, va a empezar a verlo. Pero si le cuento de que es capaz de hacer todo lo que él quiera, él tiene un problema en el corazón, que lo tuvieron que operar cuando nació.
Sí.
Y claro, los médicos, la ciencia dice que no haga deporte de intensidad. Pero yo creo que trabajando en su poder de imaginación o de creencias, podrá superar esto. Hasta cierto punto. Pero mucho más que si yo le convenciera de que no puede. Porque nuestra mente afecta a nuestro cuerpo.
Sí.
Y al contrario.
It goes both ways.
Sí, es un círculo.
Yeah. And basically there's only one choice in life when it comes to being happy or not. It's like choice number one, and there's no other. Is, am I a victim or not? You know, like, I'm speaking yesterday to this girl who lost both her parents. And it's a woman, you know, like 40-something. but she's like a strong, independent woman, you know, like beautiful soul. And she's like totally not a victim. While she had experienced a lot. While there's also people who are like, life is treating me unfair. I lost my job, you know, like whatever it is. We all have our shit. And it's not, and this is what I tell my kids, you know, I'm not here to protect you from having shit, you know, like, go out, do your thing, you know, like, I trust you, you know, I trust you make mistakes too. And I'm just here, if you're really, you know, like hurt, I'm here for you. But I'm not going to protect you from being hurt, because that's impossible. That is not working. That is like the parent illness, like, oh, don't fall. And then the kid falls and immediately breaks his arm. You know, like, well, if you would be like, go and fall. Oh, you fall and come, I help you, you know, like, talk to me, I hug you, you share your love. That's a whole different thing. So, and they're older, 21, 19, 17, and I got 8 years and 6 months also, you know, like 5 children. But the older kids are like really, they're very wise, because they really get like, they feel very free and very independent, you know, like, because they haven't learned it from me, they have done it themselves. And you know, like, and they do all the stuff that I do, you know, they've been making fun of me, like, you know, like, Daddy, I have like a zit on my forehead, you know, what should I do? And I'm like, before I say something, just like, let me guess, do breathing techniques and my shower cold. Boring, you know, as she walks away. You know, it's really funny. But they're all doing this stuff, you know, and that is because I don't personally want to teach them. You know, like, I just want, go and make your mistakes. I'm just, you know, I'm your father. I'm like, yes, I'm kind of a friend too, but, you know, I'm also really a father. But they're very open to me, and they do it themselves, you know, so, I don't know, and I'm just very proud of my children that they've become like really, really cool people, you know, like, very interesting, very nice, very empathic, you know, like, yeah, beautiful. Something went right.
Yeah.
Like, we think like, oh, where did it go wrong? You know, like, where did this go right? No idea.
Yes, it's a story I listen the father eagle and his children. The eagle, what does with his children is to protect him in the distance.
Yes.
In the distance. The eagle push his children to the acantilado.
Yeah,
outside, yeah. And the children is falling, and the father, what is meant to be is saying, I'm here for you. If you can, if you are falling and you will crash, I will protect you. But I will let you until the end to let you believe in yourself. Hay que causar estrés, tensión en un entorno protegido. Yo lo estoy haciendo con mi hijo y yo lo vi en uno de tus vídeos y lo cogí de allí y lo conecté con algo que yo ya creo.
Yeah, nice.
Tú has dado en tus vídeos de YouTube tu meditación, tus estiramientos y por ahí pasaban tus hijos.
Sí.
Y es como, ya estás haciendo lo que hace un padre. Y como hombres, las mujeres pues es lo mismo, pero desde otra forma.
Otra energía.
Sí. Y los hombres es como, abrimos la puerta al mundo, mostramos el mundo, porque estamos más encargados a lo externo, y ser un referente para que los hijos puedan ir y volver y asirse, conectar con nosotros, y así van construyendo su seguridad, su confianza. Entonces mostramos el mundo y damos protección. Y un buen padre no obliga, no hace presión, tienes que hacer esto, no, escucha y está ahí.
O quizás ven conmigo, you know, like,
Sí.
like I became a house father, you know, how you call it, stay at home dad, you know, like, I think like 5 years ago up to 3 years ago, like for 2.5 years, something like that, you know. And after that, I started traveling a lot. And my wife started working, you know, and I stayed at home. But I had like coaching clients or like a course. I just bring my kid, you know. So that's why you see Liam. He's now 8, but you see him in the videos of los Cerritos Tibetanos. You know, he's 4 there. And he said, I'm doing my work and my kid is there with me. And you know, I just make a deal. I'm really, if they start like you know, whining, I said like, hey, listen, hey, wait. It's me. You know, it's me, it's your father. We have a deal, right? You know, like, if you don't whine, you know, like, we get to be chill. But if you start whining, I cannot bring you everywhere, you know? So what's it going to be, man? And they're like, okay. You know, so I'm coaching. Like, I do it with my son here. And I would say, like, hey, man, like, really, next hour, can you be silent? But then if he would come in, it would be like, hey, man, come here. You know, what's up? Okay, yeah. And we talk for 1 minute. Okay. And now play with yourself because I'm still busy. And it's like to take them with you, you know? And like a really good friend of mine, she's a shaman. You know, she's both from Peru, like Inca shamanism, like the Munaiki, and Hawaiian. And she calls me a seahorse. And a seahorse is where the woman goes out to hunt and the man stays with the family, you know, because I have a new baby, you know, then stay with me, you know, like my girlfriend needs to have like rest. I just take the baby alone, you know, like no problem. I can, you know, if I have to, I can take care of everybody, you know, and we just find a way. I don't know how, but I feel and believe there is a way, and it just happens, you know. So I take my kids anywhere, also like traveling the world, and like 2 of them wanted to come to Barcelona, but they couldn't because when they come back, they have to be in lockdown and they're working, you know, so they didn't want to skip work. But otherwise, I would have like my 21-year-old and my daughter of 19, se llama Rio, o como Rio de Janeiro. And friends, you know, they wanted to come, but, you know, again, would have been welcome. But, you know, because of the lockdown rules, they did it. But, you know, like, I just join me, you know. I know nothing. I'm just learning. Learn with me, you know. Like, I don't play this, you know, like I'm the father. So, it's like this. You know, I learn from you, you learn from me, we both learn from each other.
This is a really good advice for parents, that when the children is like asking you for attention or for something, you're giving them lo que el niño o la niña quiere, que es simplemente amor.
Yes.
Lo veo mucho en el mío cuando me pide algo o quiere jugar conmigo o está aburrido. Lo único que quiere es cariño y amor. Pues, vale, ven conmigo, lo cojo y solamente quiere abrazo y amor. Y es como que está, y yo pensando, va a estar ahí 5 minutos, aquí agarrado, y es no. Unos segundos, ya se siente bien, se relaja, yo lo siento, lo percibo, ya está lleno y se va a jugar solo. Es increíble. Este es un gran consejo para padres.
But sometimes kids are like whining, you know, like all children do it sometimes.
Yes.
Like in the supermarket, you know. So, and daddy can have chocolate. And like, no. Why? Because I said so, because, you know, you know, and then I immediately say like, hey man, is that it? If I were you, I would lie on the ground and go like, you know, like that, like really scream, come on, you have to make more noise, man. And he's like, okay, no, you know, and they don't. And then I give him a hug, you know, and I tell him like, you know, I like you so much, I want to bring you everywhere, you know, you should stick to me, just never let go, you know, and take him on my back and I hug him just like you say. And I don't know, you know, like, it is never perfect. And that is where the perfectionism is, you know, that you cannot like predict what is happening. Like your child with a heart operation, you know, like that was not the plan, but it's happening. And then, you know, like, because of that, you find like new things, and now this is just the way it is, and it's perfect in all its imperfection, basically, you know, which is, of course, another paradox. This keeps on going, you know, like in relationships, in kids, in cleaning up your mind. I call it the no bullshit training, you know, like this is really true, you know. You can, well, it works for many things, basically, you know, because it's exactly like that with your child. You want to hug it, but if you always like really like, you know, cannot let go of your child, it's super, super toxic, you know, for the child too, because it's like, you know. So it's like training, you know, bicep training. Tension, relajar, you know, like hug and go, you know, like, and it's like everything is a flow in a way, you know.
Yeah, perfect. How we can train our flexibility like a bamboo, like a bamboo tree.
But there's, you know, like, of course, it can make this like a really long story, but also like a really short story. Like, what is most important, the most important thing that I've learned from breathing techniques, from exercise, from ice bath, is to be able to slow down your breathing, right? Because we all have stress. I don't believe stress is bad. If you go for a run, it's also stress, you know, activating the sympathetic or the fight or flight. So there's green stress and there's red stress. Red stress is like, oh my God, it's all too much, you know, and I just want to cry, or whatever, you know, like burnout feeling, you know. We all know it. We've all been there. You've been there. I've been there. What happens, and the ice bath is a good example. If you sit in an ice bath the first time, you think like, what the hell, you know, like it's intense. And how do you get through the 2 minutes of ice bath? It's like, relajar. And this is like, I think the most practical, most important thing is, you know, like when we get into stress, get into tension, you know, like fight. We have learned that we should fight against stress. And, you know, that my grade should be higher than yours. And my grade should be higher than yesterday. And I should make more money. And, you know, like it's always fighting. While the real power, the real strength is in surrendering, right? Letting go. You become, it's not a paradox, you become stronger if you're able to let go. So if you engage with stress, you know, whatever it is, and I think most of it is made up, but whatever the stress is, and you stop fighting and you start letting go, you can use that stress to grow from. And your level of green stress, like you start here. If you're like a lot of anxiety, it's like here. It's green stress, red stress. And if you train, like this is the green stress and that's the red stress. That means you go through life more relaxed. And then how do you do that? It's breathe slowly. You know, if we engage with stress, if we feel stress, we start to breathe high. Or hold. So if you have that, you feel you're stressed for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. And you learn to breathe out longer. Your stress disappears. Stress on my phone. To breathe slowly and you know, like you can do it always. Like also in a conversation, you know, like and say you were saying something, you're in your story. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should tell that. You know, like, I want to let you finish, but then I get like this feeling, oh, I shouldn't forget, you know. And it's just like a mini form of stress. And, you know, a conversation doesn't become nice if we go like, hey, yes, but, you know. So then we breathe slowly. If you breathe slowly, you're a better listener. If you breathe slowly, you're a calmer person. And you smile more. Because you don't worry so much, you know, and no guarantee that your worries are over. That's like, you know, that's what we want, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, we have a mind that's very efficient and very troublesome at the same time. It's just like you can worry for weeks or for months, or you can worry for a minute. You know, and I'm like, okay, so is this really true? Well, maybe, but then the opposite is also true, the paradox. So I'm good, and you drop it, you know. And that physical thing that you do, it's like how do you meditate? It's the same story. It's like slowing down your breathing, like really like. Like it takes one breath to calm down, you know.
You did it, and I calmed down more. Yeah, se refleja en la otra persona. Sí, bueno, porque bueno, dicen los neurólogos que tenemos unas neuronas aquí que son las neuronas espejo. Y por eso podemos ser empáticos.
Yeah.
That's why we can be empathic, because we have neurons specific for that.
Is this also because if you yawn, I yawn, is that like the same neurons? You know, that you like copy each other without realizing it, basically?
Yeah, because we have a specific neuronas para eso, neuronas espejo se le llama. Breathing slowly, I think we can live longer, because when we breathe, it's like we are estamos como quemando, haciendo que nuestro metabolismo sea más rápido. Cuando respiramos más, quemamos como más energía o más, se hacen los procesos químicos más rápido, ¿no? Se hace más ácido nuestro pH. Y al respirar más lento, nivelamos los niveles químicos, y nuestro pH se vuelve neutro y podemos vivir más y mejor. But you said something that I really like that right now I don't remember, so I'm gonna pass. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pass. Surrender! And it brings, when I was about to surrender, it comes. And it's really powerful concept there.
Yeah.
The surrender. It's like the Greeks, the anti-Greeks, the Stoics.
Yeah, I love the story.
I love.
Me too.
It's like, oh my God, it's like one of the secrets of life.
And like, my brother's telling me about the Stoics, but it's like, he's like, you know, you are like the Stoics, you know, this is the theory of what you're living.
I want to know how is your house.
My house?
Yeah, is minimalist or is like a lot of things there? I don't know.
I have like, I don't even lock my house. I'm like, you know, like if people want to break in and steal it, you know, like there's nothing really, there's a lot of like crystals and some, you know, but not a lot in. So basically, my ex is living with 4 kids on the ground floor. We have like a big house, 150 square meters. And I'm living on the 2nd floor in a 35 square meter house, so very small. You know, like it's like, I call it the lightest place in Amsterdam. You know, because it's a very, very light, energetic space where a lot of interesting people have come already. You know, like healers, Tibetan monks, and stuff like that. You know, like who have done their thing there. And the house is just very clean and clear. You know, and it's like minimalistic. You know, like.
Do you like Feng Shui?
Yeah, well, I don't like practice it, but I don't know a lot about the theory.
Taking things
but I
from
do that.
Feng Shui.
Yeah, I do that based on intuition. So
yeah.
Basically, you know, a good example, like people put like a closet with books in their living room. I don't. My closet with books is somewhere in the back, so the living room is like empty. You know, so and my ex is Japanese, so the few things that are there are like Japanese stuff, so it's very minimalistic. totally, you know, like, and then, so this is how we live, and my new girlfriend lives like 5 minutes away, and, you know, I have 5 kids, but there's 2 nights a week where I sleep alone, and like, 2 nights with my son of 8, and like 3 nights with my girlfriend and the baby, or when sometimes my girlfriend sleeps alone and I have the baby alone, you know, like, and my kids always come upstairs, and like my ex is working, so I'm downstairs in the big house too, you know, like, we've had trouble, you know, like a breakup, but the way it works, it's like, it's amazing, and where we live in Amsterdam is this beautiful square, 1 minute of the Vondelpark, 5 minutes from the center, but very, very quiet. You know, children playing, and it's just, it's magic. You know, like, I don't ever want to move. That's my home. I travel the world and I come home. You know, like, and I really come home in those 2 houses where I live basically, and that space, and you know. So, but to the short answer to your question, very minimalistic in my house. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I'm the books that I've read and will not read again, I give them away. I don't save it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of material.
Nice.
If I make a lot of money, I buy some more clothes, and I go more on holiday, and I bring all the kids. You know, and if I have less money, then you know I don't have to spend a lot. It's very basic and very minimalistic.
Yeah.
I think that's also, it's a paradox, but that's making you rich if you don't need a lot.
Yeah, in everything in our life, in every area, in relationship, who needs less, the other person has the power. Who needs less about everything, materialistic things, is richer. It's a paradox. We need relations, we need to contact with people, but it's different to need.
Exactly.
It's totally different.
Yes.
I want love, I want connection. I really like meeting with you and talk with you. I really need that.
Yeah, and me too, you know, like, that's like what people forget, that we need connection, yeah.
But we need also the other side. We need letting go of things.
Yeah.
I lost my father 13 years ago, and it's really a good aprendizaje.
Yeah, like a lesson.
Lesson. It's a really the best lesson life give to me. Letting go things, people, experiences.
So, and how do you let it go? Like, because, you know, like...
Feeling. Fluyendo. If I feel the loss, the pain, because if I retain everything of that, if I don't feel that, I'm becoming like a lake that is root lake. Me estoy pudriendo si yo no siento y esa rabia o la tristeza but in the other hand, if I feel letting go all my feelings, la rabia, el dolor, la tristeza, finally I will become okay. What now? I feel empty, and I can grab or dejar que otras cosas vengan, otras experiencias, personas, cosas. Echo mucho de menos a mi padre, me duele mucho. Me encantaría que estuviera ahora y viera a mi hijo. Duele, pero no es como hace 5 o 10 años, que era como no sentir. Y tensión, entonces así me rindo.
Yeah, and I think that letting go is in breathing out.
Yes.
You know, like, yeah.
How do you surrender? I am breathing, I know.
Breathe out.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, from a physiological point of view, we breathe in oxygen and we breathe out CO2, but also toxins, heavy metals, whatever. So you breathe in energy, you breathe in health, and you breathe out and you let go of everything you don't need. Now, if you actively use that process, you know, like, for example, my father died too when I was 11, you know, and it hurts. It hurts. And you're like, literally imagining that you let go and breathe out everything you don't need, not only toxins and CO2, emotional pain, energetic pain, you know. Letting go is like breathing out.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Breathing is the foundation of everything. If we don't breathe, we die. Simple. So for finishing the interview, I want to ask you about your dreams or plans for the future, and what do you want to do next years to come?
Well, first of all, I want to, as you described it, I want to be open and empty to see what passes by, because I don't know what the future will bring, you know. I know only that whatever comes, that I will try to ride that flow, you know, like as good as I can. But what I'm thinking about now is like, so I'm traveling the world. That was my dream two years ago, you know, like that's happening now. And next step in that is organizing retreats. So I'm now organizing one retreat to Patagonia, Argentina, one to Peru, Machu Picchu, including shamanistic initiations, working together with the shaman, culture and breathing. You know, I just want to organize what I love myself. And I want to organize one in Japan. It's actually, they're all already set, but we're making now lists of people that are interested. And when the world opens up, we're like, okay, we can travel, you know, like, are you still interested? And the third retreat is to Japan. 4 days Zen Buddhist monk and then climbing Mount Fuji without a t-shirt. A shorter term thing that's already happening next year is organizing retreats. Basically, there's always two sides. There's the universal agenda, which is very simple. It's helping people. You know, that's it. But there's also the private agenda. And my private agenda is to live comfortably, to be free, to sometimes work extremely hard, but also because I'm engaged with the project, but also be able to, you know, to do an hour of yoga every day if I would want it, you know. So my personal freedom is important, and like abundance, which is not per se money, you know. Like I don't mind money, but it's more like this year is abundant. I'm in Barcelona now because David, he asked me to do a private in his country house. And he says, you can borrow my office, you know, and I'm giving a course here in the center of Barcelona in his office. You know, like, there's no money involved, but like, I get given things, you know, so abundance is like more important than a bank account. Although a bank account is nice, you know. And what I value very much, and I want to keep on doing it, is connection with people. You know, this conversation that we have here is like, for me, my most important private agenda thing of that traveling life is to be able to connect with brothers and sisters and have like really, really nice conversation and help each other energetically, you know, to grow. That's like, I meet the coolest people in the world, and I'm always with locals, you know, like, and I love people, you know, and connecting with my brothers and sisters. So connection, I want to keep that connection, like with my kids that I have, but also keep on growing connection with other people. So like private agenda, abundance in whatever, in, you know, connection, but also in being able to travel, being able to move, climb trees, you know, like becoming my body. Universal agenda, helping people. And you know, like how I do that is like online courses, my optimized training, coaching, physical courses with an ice bath, like, but how it flows in the future, I don't know, but I trust, I trust my faith. You know, I trust the future. I've like,
Yeah.
and sometimes I worry, of course, but then do you still trust your faith? And I'm like, yes, I do, you know. I've like, last month I had to close down one of my dream projects, an investment fund. And it, you know, like, it didn't work, or it didn't work in the current setup. And it was painful, and it took me 2 days to really like, let go, surrender. And you know, there's always lessons to learn, there's like things to accept, and then there's the energetic process of letting go, which is breathing out and imagining you let go of everything you don't need. So, you know, like, I'm not always successful, but I'm flexible enough to move also with my failures, maybe, you know, so, yeah. So this is, I don't know if it's a very long answer.
Yeah, you answer really, really good. That's great. Then you put two concepts very important, like the main thing, the universal objective, and the personal, private objectives.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good classification because we need direction in our lives. We need a why.
Mm-hmm.
It's more important than how.
Yes.
And you explained really, really good. So, wow, I'm really grateful for meeting and connection with you. Yeah, you bring a lot of value to me, Tim.
Thank you, same here. It goes both ways.
Thank you.
Let's make the ice bath now.
Okay?
Yeah?
Of course. Yeah, I can record it. So, well, I don't know, I have many things, but to end the interview, nice people, gente bonita, pues pondré abajo los enlaces de todo para poder contactar con Tim. Tiene su página web, Instagram, lo puedes contactar también por YouTube, tiene su canal de YouTube y dentro de poco tendrá TikTok.
I'm going on TikTok today.
Yes. Y la verdad es una persona súper cercana, súper amable, súper entrañable, tiene un gran corazón y eso se percibe y espero que esta entrevista pues os dé valor también a vosotros y nos vemos en próximas entrevistas, así que un abrazo y muchísimas gracias por ver el vídeo. Bye.
Un abrazo.